7 a.m. Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Little lingering shower for this morning. Clouds later, highs around 70. Let's head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the first check of the Garden State forecast. And Mike, yesterday at this point, it was 49.5 degrees. Right now, it's 62 degrees in northern New Jersey.
There is a big warm up that came in, and it's all due to that easterly breeze because the ocean temperatures, Ken, are still in the low 70s. So that's providing that warmth throughout this morning. It's not exactly a pretty warmth, there's a rather gray sky with some misty, drizzly conditions around. You can already see on the radar picture some of those showers popping up here on the radar. And yes, if you're wondering, there's a little bit of a rip current and a small craft advisory as well for all of New Jersey due to those coastal waters getting a little choppy later today. The closer view showing that radar as showing the light showers moving in, especially down toward Ocean County, there in Burlington and Atlantic County, and even back over toward 287 and 78 right there in Somerset Somerset County. So with plenty of clouds today, there's also a little bit of high water with the coastal flood advisory. A lot going on today due to that wind at the coast. Plan on temperatures to begin much milder than they have been for the past few days, even 59 up in Morristown, 63 right now in Toms River. But we will hold in the 60s today. It's not going to get much warmer than this due to the lack of sun. Even with the temperatures anywhere from 13 to 14 degrees warmer than this time yesterday, it's another round of gray sky with the dew points or the humidity nice and high, thanks to all of those clouds. So the clouds came in last night. With that, we have some light showers around this morning, and there'll be some light showers continuing on and off through this afternoon with winds increasing. It's already breezy right now with that northeasterly wind, and it will really get breezy through this afternoon into this evening and even later on tonight. Once the wind switches direction and blows in from the north and west, it turns much drier, and it'll feel much drier for tomorrow with temperatures warming back into the 80s. So a lovely way to finish out the week after we get rid of these sporadic clouds and showers. The rest of the day, you see these spotty shades of green. These are the showers that'll be present through later on tonight, clearing by tomorrow morning. Maybe a lingering shower holding on in southern New Jersey, but even you clear out by tomorrow afternoon, and then we're back in the 80s across most of the state, holding even in the mid 70s by tomorrow evening through sunset. Friday, another decent day, temperatures in the mid 70s, a mix of clouds and sun. It's the weekend which looks beautiful, especially on Friday into Saturday. With the clouds holding on, I think, through early in the morning, we'll see some clearing throughout the day on Saturday, and with that, warming back into the mid 70s. So while there could be a scattered sprinkle maybe as a upper level low trough moves through, that basically just means there's some instability in the air. I think we'll clear things out nicely for a beautiful day on Sunday. Temperatures warm back into the 80s, so the warming trend starts today, and then we clear things out as soon as tomorrow. So just one little break for some rain today, Ken, and then we're back to regularly scheduled sunshine.
Well, as they used to sing in the old Broadway show, gray skies are going to clear up. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that. Thank you very much, sir. It is now 61 degrees. As we mentioned, it is 61 also in Trenton. And in terms of traffic, we have a crash on the GSP, Garden State, local lanes, northbound, north of exit 124, Main Street in Sayreville with a right shoulder blocked, and a crash on the Garden State Parkway, southbound, south of exit 136, which is Stiles Street in Clark Township. All lanes are open, but there are a lot of rubberneckers through there. We have a down pole on New Jersey's Route 49, both directions, east of County Route 675, Fordville, Ghoultown Road in Fairfield. All lanes are closed. Again, that's a down pole on Route 49, both directions closed in Fairfield. And we have some delays already into the across the Hudson River, I should say. It's about 25 minutes at the Holland, 25 at the Lincoln. We take a look at the upper and lower levels of the GWB right now. And you can see it's pretty heavy. The lower level on the left, worse than the upper level on the right. But nonetheless, we're told the upper level is giving you about a 25-minute crossover time, and it is 35 minutes if you were to take the lower level, which you see on the left. Our time is 7:06 right now, and in the news, and we sure have a lot of it today, and we have a lot of interviews too today, so it's a busy little morning. In Woodbridge, a massive crash crack hundreds of yards long on Smith Road forced the evacuation of 18 families last week. The crack, discovered Thursday on Route 440 near the Garden State Parkway. Mayor John McCormick says families have been allowed to return home with sensors in place just in case the ground shifts again. They can get an alert. A full engineering review is underway to assess damage and plan repairs with no timeline for reopening. 7:06 in Trenton, police have arrested 51-year-old Rasheen Gaither, accused of sexually assaulting two girls under 13, one at his home, another at his alleged illegal dispensary, which is called Bagged U, Baggedu, like bagged you. Following an August investigation, police say a search on his shop uncovered 4 pounds of marijuana and a handgun, leading to additional weapons charges. Gaither faces aggravated sexual assault and child endangerment charges. A federal appeals court ruled that the New Jersey Institute of Technology wrongly denied philosophy professor Jason Reza Georgiani continued employment over controversial off-campus comments praising Adolf Hitler. Now, listen to that. The professor at the college was off campus and made comments. This is key. He was not at work on campus talking to students. So we do have something in this country, no matter how horrible the speech is, something called freedom of speech, First Amendment. So he was off campus praising Adolf Hitler. Horrible, disgusting, but protected. The Third Circuit Court found Georgiani's speech was protected by the First Amendment, overturning a lower court's dismissal. Judge Paul Matey ruled that universities can't discipline faculty for expressing offensive views, especially in this case, off campus on their own time. The ruling revives Georgiani's retaliation claim against NJIT. A major disruption hit students in Monmouth and Ocean counties as Sementov, a bus company that serves a number of school districts there, halted service Monday due to an unexpected insurance issue. Neptune Township schools were notified Friday of limited service, but by Monday afternoon, all large buses had to be grounded, forcing parents to pick up their kids themselves. Neighboring districts did step in with a few buses to help. The company, which transports over 20,000 students a day, apologized and is working to resolve the issue. Affected districts, including Neptune, Lakewood, and Wall, are now seeking temporary contracts and looking into taking legal action. 7:08, Trenton is set to welcome professional hockey back to the Cure Insurance Arena. Our director, Pam, is thrilled to know. A new ECHL minor hockey league team was announced on Tuesday, with its inaugural season slated for October 2026. No name's been chosen yet. Pick up a name. Maybe you could write it in and they'll take it. Who knows? They didn't say that, but I'm just saying. I'm sure they're looking for names. This would be the city's first pro hockey venture since the Titans played their final game back in 2013. 7:09, the Justice Department filed federal charges yesterday against a man with a long rap sheet for the fatal stabbing of a Ukrainian refugee on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina, in the latest escalation of a case fueling a White House response against violent crime in Democratic-led cities. If convicted of the charge of committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system, 34-year-old Carlos Brown could face the death penalty for allegedly stabbing 23-year-old Irina Zarutska in an unprovoked attack. You can see in the video, she's sitting down looking at her phone, and he just, in the video, appears to stand up, whip out a flip-open knife, and slits her throat 3 times. By the way, she fled the war in Ukraine to be safe in the United States and chose a medium-sized city like Charlotte so she'd be away from big city crime. And this is what this poor woman got. The feds decided they would get involved because they saw the local liberal Democrats not enforcing laws, as is the case in almost every Democrat-run city, especially when it's black on white crime and black on black crime. If it's white on black crime, you'll have the entirety of the United States out protesting. But black on black or black on white crime seems not to impress Democrats at all. So this is why the feds stepped in and they decided, because this guy had been charged 14 frickin' times, most of which were felonies. His own family contacted the courts the last time he was released and said, why are you letting him out? They accuse him of assaulting his sister. His mother and brother wanted him in jail or in a mental institution. You know what the judge, and we have to tell you about the judge was a magistrate who was appointed by her crony buddy, who was the mayor. So the judge is not even a lawyer. The judge doesn't even know what the law is, but has the title of judge. And her day job, when she's not wearing a black robe, her day job is running a therapy center. And guess what? He was once at the therapy center. So she saw her little buddy and decided to let him out. She has blood on her hands. If the feds don't figure out a way to charge that judge, then justice is not blind. They should charge this judge because clearly there was a connection to the guy. She should have recused herself from the case. But she let her little buddy out, and her little buddy went on to slaughter this young woman, allegedly. Only we have videotape, so you figure it out. This is what happens when you let criminals out of jail time after time. Do you know that the average murderer commits 12 major crimes before they commit murder? He committed 14 crimes, allegedly. No, and actually he was sentenced. He was convicted. So he's convicted. He committed 14 crimes before he killed this girl, allegedly killed this girl on the videotape. So what don't you get, Democrats? And here's the thing. We are living in an era where they're not even charging people anymore. You call the police and say, somebody hit me. They say, what do you want us to do? It's not even worth filing charges. So we don't know how many. This guy could have been involved in thousands of more cases. These are just the 14 that we caught him on. Wake up, America. Wake up, Democrats. Stop voting Democrat for Christ's sake. This is what it's getting you. Do you want it to be your wife next, your daughter next, your sister next, yourself next? We have a problem with mental insanity, drug abuse, and addiction. By the way, all we heard from the liberals in Trenton was marijuana is perfectly safe. We shouldn't have these marijuana laws because they unfairly put minorities in jail. Marijuana is not safe. We now know time and time again, there are about 50 studies now that show that especially modern marijuana, which has mega doses of THC in it, nowhere near what they had in the 60s and 70s. Modern marijuana causes bipolar, schizophrenia, all sorts of illnesses in the brain. So somebody who might be a little nuts up top without marijuana, if they start getting hooked on marijuana, and yes, we now know, see, they said for years, you can't get hooked on marijuana. Yes, you can. They've now determined you can. So these people who get hooked on THC, high doses of it, marijuana, end up becoming psychotic. So who knows? If they take a sample of his blood, they may find out he had massive amounts of THC. And of course, the liberals will try to then get him off saying, well, he was out of his sound mind. Will you tell that to Irina Tsitskova's family? Oh, he was just out of his right mind. So now your daughter's dead. Don't worry about it. That's Democrats, folks. And this is why local FBI agents had to step in, because the asses who run the police and the district attorney and the mayor, all a bunch of left-wing radicals in North Carolina. You think North Carolina is Republican? Not in this case. The cities are Democrat. That's the problem. 7:14, Chief Justice John Roberts yesterday allowed the Trump administration to freeze billions in foreign aid payments, putting on hold a lower court ruling that required officials to spend $4 billion of that money. Think about this. They required, this is the liberals, they wanted your money, $4 billion, to go to foreign causes that the president came in and saw were wastes and said no. But the Democrats, the liberals, a lower court liberal judge said, yes, you got to spend that money. It's taxpayer money. $4 billion in foreign aid that was approved by Congress, a liberal Congress at the time, but the President Trump deemed wasteful. Trump signed an executive order on his first day in office curtailing foreign aid spending, and his administration has spent months fighting lower court orders, all by liberal justices and judges that have attempted to block his efforts to stop wasteful spending for American taxpayers. This is what the Biden administration and the liberals he put in place did. Before he got out of office, they made sure that the court system, the district courts, were padded with radical, extremist left-wing judges. And they are doing their best to see, they know that the law is not on their side. So what they're doing is just trying to slow down Trump until such time that they can get Democrats back in office. So they keep throwing roadblocks in his way, but they're losing because the Supreme Court's been working fast and then been thumping them. But what Justice Roberts needs to do is tell the lower courts, you do this again, we're going to pull you off the bench. And he has the power to do that. Justice Roberts, as the Chief Justice, is technically the boss of every district court in the U.S. 7:16, a freak accident nearly killed an 18-year-old Utah woman. Fortunately, that woman is alive this morning after she was impaled on Monday by flying rebar while riding in a car near Wyoming. Utah Highway Patrol reported the woman was in the front passenger seat of a Toyota Corolla when what was called a concrete form stake came flying up off the highway and struck the hood of her car and went through the windshield, impaling the woman in the chest. The unidentified woman was medevac to a nearby hospital in serious condition. Police say they're warning drivers to remain vigilant on the highway, as if you never know when a steel rebar is going to bounce off the hood of your car and impale you in the chest. Yeah, I don't think you could be prepared for that, officer. And it appears that marijuana, as we were just talking about this, listen to this. Marijuana damages unfertilized eggs in female ovaries in ways researchers worry may lead to infertility, miscarriage, and genetic defects in babies. Okay? There you go. Oh, marijuana is perfectly safe. Perfectly safe. So women, from when you're born, when a woman is born, they have all the eggs they're going to use for their entire lives in their ovaries. I don't know if you know that. They don't get produced each month. They get released each month, but they don't get produced each month. They are produced at birth. And so those eggs sit there when THC levels hit them. Apparently now it causes changes in how the eggs mature and a possible increase in chromosome malformations. That is a study that was published yesterday in the journal Nature Communications. Look it up yourself. All the liberal doctors saying, Ken, you don't know what you're talking about. Go look it up in Nature Communications. Sadly, the use of marijuana during pregnancy is rising, but you don't even have to be pregnant. It's just the eggs themselves can get genetically deformed. A June study found self-reported cannabis use has more than tripled among pregnant women in the U.S. Why? Because liberals have been saying it's perfectly safe. From 2002 to 2020. Apparently, smoking a cigarette with a filter is dangerous, but smoking pot with no filter and putting all the tar and smoke into your lungs, that's terribly safe. Yeah, that's what liberals say. Numerous studies have linked marijuana use during pregnancy to autism, ding, 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 poor fetal development, low infant birth weight, dangerously early deliveries, even death. And Democrats in the Garden State thought it was a great idea to legalize the drug. So here we've been talking about autism being caused possibly by getting all these vaccines. Well, what if it's because women have been smoking a lot more pot in the last 20 years? And suddenly autism rates are spiking. Ding, ding, ding. Think about it. 718, Apple yesterday introduced Apple Watch Series 11, offering the most comprehensive set of health features yet. Longer battery life, even more durable cover glass, and 5G cell capabilities, all in its thinnest and most comfortable design. The new watch series lets users know if they have high blood pressure, very important, plus lets them know about their sleep quality. Apple fans can pre-order the watch right now. It's available starting next Friday, September 19th, not this Friday. And fall is coming up on us. It's unofficially here. Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson kicks off its Fright Fest this Friday, September 12th, running select nights through November 2nd. The park will hold the kid-friendly Boo Fest during the day with games, treats, and shows. And after 7 p.m., the scares begin with terrifying mazes like Army of the Dead, The Conjuring Universe, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, plus scare zones and spooky rides. Haunted attractions passes start at $35 for maze access. It is 62 degrees now at 719. We are coming back in 30 seconds. And welcome back to ONNJ Mornings for your Wednesday. I'm Ken Rosato at 720, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Uh-oh.
Well, get the magic going. Watch. 3, 2, 1.
Come on.
Michael, flip the camera on. All right, we'll talk in the meantime while Mike gets that going. It is 7:20 right now. We're going to get a shower or two this morning, and then it's supposed to just be cloudy later in the day. But wait till you see what happens tomorrow. You might want to play hooky, go down the shore because we're going to get some sunshine. See what it looks like behind me in that fake image? Well, that fake image will be real tomorrow. And I'm giving it all away before Mike could come on, but Mike will be on in a second. You'll be able to go down the shore with temps in the low 80s tomorrow. So here comes Mike, meteorologist Mike Favetta. Now, I gave away some of your secrets already, Mike.
I was listening. I know. Yeah, the camera wasn't turning on. So just wanted to call in sick today, I guess. Do a little
It's getting ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, looked outside, saw the forecast, and was like, no, pull the covers back over. Like, no, not going to do it today. It's a mental health day because it's one of those, this is the season, right? The seasonal affective disorder. You look outside, you see the gray sky, you go, ugh. One of those days. Now, I don't like to demonize the rain because, sure, we certainly need it. But with the cloud cover today and with the gray sky, it's looking a bit gray down the shore, especially with those light showers around. Lower visibility, too. I'll get to that in just a sec. But 69 degrees, that's a high in Toms River. Keeping all of the clouds around as well through New Brunswick and Princeton. Gray sky through the rest of the afternoon. Even through tomorrow morning as well. It doesn't take, we have to wait a few hours tomorrow morning for the skies to eventually clear. So there's your reduced visibility toward Toms River, 4 mile for you, 9.3 mile visibility there toward Ship Bottom. Ridiculously accurate, and even up toward northern New Jersey, improving, but that'll go down as well as the rain moves in. So rainfall amounts will be light today, less than a half inch at best. It's going to be just those spotty, drizzly periods throughout most of the state, even the southeastern corner of New Jersey, where those clouds are hanging around right now, and you can even see some of those light showers that began earlier this morning. It's not coming from the west, where our weather typically comes from. This is just along a front that's stuck offshore, providing another round of rain throughout this afternoon. And with that, I think it'll keep us pretty much humid throughout this afternoon into tomorrow, even though the dew points or the temperature where they are saturated keeps the humidity moderately high. It's not like summertime sticky, but it's still quite noticeably humid, especially by September standards, where it's usually rather dry. Going into tomorrow and Friday, even down toward Millville, you'll see those numbers a little bit higher. So going into this weekend, Saturday, clear. I think Sunday could have some clouds by the end of the day. You see a few sprinkles working in later on that evening. But during the daylight hours, I think we're dry both days on Saturday and Sunday. Then we get this lovely clear weather that takes over for Monday and Tuesday, lasting through Wednesday. That's the fantastic, fall feel that you'll enjoy starting off next week and staying that way throughout the better part of next week. It's a nice dry stretch that'll last into the next several days. So beyond the rain today, we clear out tomorrow, and then for Saturday, warm into the upper 70s. Sunday, warmer still at 79. A little bit of a southwesterly wind pumping in some of that warmer weather, and then the dry air continues throughout Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll tell you all about it coming up, Ken, on the 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Well, I am looking forward to that, sir. In fact, especially looking forward to the warmer weather. You know me and my warmer weather, so we'll see it tomorrow. All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. In terms of traffic, we do have some issues to tell you about. There's a vehicle fire right now reported on the Garden State Parkway, and this is on the local lanes northbound, north of exit 114, Red Hill Road. That's in Homedale Township, right near the stadium there, the arena. One right lane is blocked. We have a crash on the Garden State local lanes northbound, north of exit 124, 10 miles away from that, which is Main Street in Sayreville with a right shoulder blocked. And again, Garden State southbound south of 136 Stiles Street in Clark. All lanes are open, but a little brake checking through the area. We have down pole, Route 49 in both directions, east of Fordville, Gouldtown Road, Fairfield Township. All lanes are closed right now because of that. And we have a disabled tractor trailer on the New Jersey Turnpike inner roadway southbound ramp from Richard Stockton service area in Hamilton Township with a right lane block. Going toward Philadelphia, we have a crash on 295 northbound at exit 29, US 30 in Barrington. The right shoulder is closed. The approaches to the Hudson River into Manhattan right now, we have upper and lower levels of the GWB very heavy. Your better bet is actually the upper level. You can see the lower level on your left is stopped in the extreme right. Upper level is going to give you about 35 minutes. Lower level is about 40 minutes in. Hudson and Lincoln, the Holland and Lincoln tunnels are both about 25 minutes in at this time. 725, and unemployment under the Biden administration was way higher than reported, which is what led President Trump to fire the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And everyone said it was because she was saying that his numbers weren't good. Well, during Biden's last year in office, Commissioner Erica McAnifer, I practiced that. I knew I wasn't going to get it. McAnifer reported as many as 1 million more people employed than actually had jobs. So in other words, she said that over the course of the last year of the Biden administration, there were 1 million more people than actually had jobs. So you have to wonder, was that intentional, or was she incredibly inept at her job? Sounds like a little of both. Well, that means she reported 80,000 more people employed each month under Biden than the actual numbers. This tells us President Trump inherited an economy that was way worse than originally thought. The New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission, or ELEC, handed out over $2.6 million in public matching funds to the two major gubernatorial candidates. Democrat Mikey Sherrill received $1.6 million, bringing her total to $7 million, while Republican Jack Ciattarelli got $1 million, totaling $6.8 million. Both are just over halfway to the $12.5 million cap. They are the only candidates qualified for those funds. Mail-in voting, by the way, already begins later this month, and neither candidate has shown enough courage to appear on this broadcast to answer actual questions from voters. You should be aware of that. 7:27, time for politics from Trenton Explained, like no one else can do it. Here's David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Inside Edge. It's Wednesday, September 10th, and it's day 2 for Superior Court Judge John Deitch in the Inside Edge. And the Westfield Wonder is fast becoming the poster child for lay incompetence in the New Jersey judiciary. Monday, he bungled Hillside. Tuesday, he took a blowtorch to Roselle. And at this point, Judge Deitch isn't just a story, he's a symptom, a walking, talking reminder that New Jersey's election laws are a Frankenstein monster of dysfunction, and maybe, just maybe, it's time to rip the whole thing down and start over. Here's the mess. June 10th, Roselle's Democratic primary for Borough Council, 3,000 votes cast. The incumbent wins by 3. Loser seeks a recount. A month later, Deitch says there's no evidence that the tally is wrong, as if the first count is always right. The appellate division disagrees. They order a recount. Big surprise. 3 votes become 2 votes. And now any judge who understands urgency pushes this case like his robe's on fire. Not Deitch. He wants briefs. He wants response briefs, rejoinders, summer vacations, drag the calendar into oblivion. We don't even get back in the courtroom until September. And now, 90 plus days later, Deitch decides that some voters were disenfranchised. He voids the primary and orders a do-over. And here's the catch. General election ballots are going to be mailed out on September 20th. That's 10 days away. That's locked. That's not moving. But Judge Deitch acts like we can just cancel November. And here's a news flash, Your Honor. We don't cancel general elections in America. So what if there's no Republicans? Write-in candidates are legal in New Jersey. And if there's no Democrat and no Republican on the ballot, voters get to go in and write in whomever they want. What's more democratic than that? Deitch tried to blame poll workers. He said some of them blew it, and maybe they did, but blowing up an entire election because he can't move his docket, that's not justice. That's malpractice. And now all the eyes are on Assistant Attorney General Susan Scott, who runs the state elections division. She's no great shakes either. And does she step in, or does the Attorney General's office sit this one out and let Deitch keep swinging a wrecking ball at Union County's democracy? here's the bottom line. Deitch has created pure chaos. Either he didn't understand the stakes or he just didn't care. And so this is going to be the assignment judge's choice. Leave les incompetents in charge of Union County's elections or ship them off to some small claims court where moving slowly doesn't burn democracy to the ground. That's all for today, everybody, and I'll be back tomorrow.
It is 7:31 now. When we come back, did a UFO almost trigger a Russian missile launch 40 years ago? And did the U.S. military shoot down a UFO off the coast of Yemen just last year? New testimony and video presented to Congress yesterday seem to suggest both. Phone lines are open. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching ONNJ Jersey Mornings. We're back in 30.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Very good morning to you. 61 degrees, 7:32, Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to ONNJ Jersey Mornings. Some showers this morning, cloudy later, highs around 70. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning to Mike.
Good morning, Ken. A little bit of a gray morning you see from the satellite picture. The clouds are hanging low, and with that, a little bit of an easterly breeze and northeast wind today will make it look rather gray as well. You see the sun rising here, reflecting off of the cloud tops, showing those gray skies today. So in southern New Jersey, you'll tap into some light, spotty showers through this afternoon. Unlikely we see some thunderstorms, especially with the low intensity from these showers. It'll just be kind of a gray, drizzly day, and temperatures well below average, only climbing into the upper 60s, whereas we usually, this time of the year, are in the low 80s. That's a big change. So as those easterly breezes pull in some of that rain, you'll see some light showers around this afternoon, and that will last into the end of the day, even continue through tonight in southern New Jersey, not clearing until tomorrow afternoon. Now, northern New Jersey wakes up to some sunshine tomorrow, helping you warm quickly back into the upper 70s and low 80s by the end of the day. And then we're back to a little bit of a cooler period come Friday and Friday afternoon. Now, by the weekend, you'll see this system all exit quickly to the east and bring back a lovely feel, especially with the drier weather. The front slides through by Thursday afternoon. Tomorrow, by the end of the day, some clouds will be around, but even still, with the clearing that occurs for Saturday and Sunday, a few quick early evening sprinkles on Saturday, and then we're back to dry weather by Sunday morning. So a very decent looking weekend ahead with milder weather in the forecast and temperatures that climb above average. 77 degrees for the weekend, as well as Sunday 79. A little bit of a warm up that continues through Monday and Tuesday. So the cool period that's now only lasts today because we're back in the 80s by tomorrow, even down the shore, upper 70s throughout tomorrow and Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Also looking rather pleasant with the clear sky right through Monday and Tuesday. So one little day of wet weather, and then we're back to sunshine by tomorrow, Ken.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. And we have 59 degrees. It just dropped about 2 degrees in the last few minutes in northern New Jersey, 61 in Trenton, and the south toward Philadelphia, just beyond that point. It's about 62. It is 7:34. A witness at a congressional hearing regarding UFOs, now called unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, dropped an explosive allegation. In 1982, the Russians allegedly panicked over an unidentified flying object. Apparently, the sighting was directly over a Russian military base where they stored intercontinental ballistic missiles pointed directly at the United States. One person suggested we may have been seconds away from the start of World War III. Joining us now with more is News Nation special correspondent Ross Coulthart, host of Reality Check with Ross Coulthart on News Nation's YouTube. I watch that all the time. I'm a big fan. Good morning to you, Ross. Thanks for coming on the program.
Good morning to you, Ken. Lovely to be here.
Nice to have you. And for those who don't realize, you made international news, and you helped put News Nation on the map. And I know some folks over there over a year ago, right, with your big UFO story then. So for people wondering, why have I seen him before in the United States? That was one of the reasons. Let's talk about yesterday, the big congressional hearing, and the big announcements. There were several big announcements, right? One was about Russia and a UFO that nearly triggered World War III. Tell us about that, please.
Well, the story is that there's an investigative journalist by the name of George Knapp who's working out of Las Vegas. He's made a lot of friends who connected him with people in the former Soviet Union after it fell apart. And in 93, he traveled to Russia, as it was then, or as it is now, and he basically recovered documents from senior Soviet scientists, and indeed he secured interviews with very senior Soviet military officials. There was that very narrow period in Glasnost when the Russians were wanting to be our friend for a few years, and as a result of that, he literally smuggled a suitcase of documents out of Russia. And in those documents, it revealed a secret 10-year-long Russian investigation into UFOs, an extraordinary effort where every section of the Russian armed forces and scientific community was mobilized to investigate UFO sightings. And one of them was at a place called Bielorusk, which was where as you've said, a nuclear missile facility was located. And the documents describe, and the veracity of these documents has been confirmed by the colonel in charge of this investigation. The documents show that the nuclear missiles of this particular launch facility were literally one button push from launch. It was only by the grace of God that they didn't fire. And the other aspect to this was that there was a UFO, there was a gigantic craft seen hovering over the facility at Bielorusk at exactly the same time. So the connection is made between this craft that the Russians report in this document and what happened inside the missile launch facility. And the speculation is that what that document shows is that the missiles were stopped by the non-human craft of whatever technology, whatever civilization it was, to essentially demonstrate that it was a folly to have these nuclear weapons. And that's certainly what the Russians concluded. And I think the interesting thing is that there have been very similar incidents here in the United States. But as I've discovered as a journalist myself, you often won't get to hear about these incidents because there's an awful lot of the mainstream media that still treats the UFO subject with stigma, ridicule, and taboo.
That is exactly something I want us to get to as we continue this discussion, because even at a time when you've had presidents of the United States in recent years who've had a more open mind toward UFOs, or UAPs as they are trying to call them now, you still have the giggle and the elbow, hey, UFOs attitude from many, and it's sad. There clearly are more people in the field who have more open a mind, but as journalists, we're supposed to listen. We're supposed to observe. We're supposed to chronicle. We shouldn't judge. And unfortunately, too many in our business do that. Let's talk about, if we could, the incident that happened in the United States last October, in which we allegedly fired a Hellfire missile, and we have the video there, we're showing it, at a shiny object, flying object off the coast of Yemen. What happened there?
Okay, so what we do know is that in late last year, there was an engagement between an MQ-9 Reaper, which fired a Hellfire missile at that object that you see on screen. And what's quite extraordinary about it is the Hellfire is an extraordinarily powerful missile. It would bring down any aircraft. This object, whatever it is, appears to react. It rotates, absorbs the impact of the missile, which goes through it. And then in a slow motion, I don't think you can quite see it here because we're seeing this at full speed, but in a slow motion of the object, you can actually see three objects come out of that object and then proceed to sort themselves, and two of them track directly behind it, some kind of intelligent control. Nobody really has any idea what it is that this object represents, but it was presented by Representative Eric Burleson, who's part of this oversight committee subcommittee that had this hearing yesterday, which was essentially investigating the title of Restoring Public Trust Through UAP Transparency and Whistleblower Protection. And essentially, he's one of a group of representatives on the Hill, senators and reps, who are very strongly of the view that there is a cover-up, that the United States has been concealing its knowledge of UAPs. And he cited that video as an example of videos that have been gathered by the Defense Department and the intelligence community, generally not released to the public. And he was confirmed by a former investigator for the Defense Department into UAPs, a guy called Lou Elizondo, who's been very prominent publicly. Lou has been somebody who's basically come out today and said that he thinks that the video is very significant, that it deserves further investigation. But more importantly, he said that when he was working in the Pentagon, he saw many such videos, most of which have been excluded from public knowledge, which are being held by the Defense Department and the intelligence community and restrained from public view. If there's nothing to hide about UAPs, and this is the attitude I take as an investigative journalist, why on earth all the secrecy? And it's very interesting. Congress somehow yesterday got its mojo back. It decided to start investigating. And boy, the questioning from people like Representative Anna Paulina Luna was very, very intense. She flat out accused the former head of the Pentagon's UAP investigation agency, AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. His name is Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. She flat out accused him of being a liar. And it's quite something to see a member of Congress charging a member of the executive, very senior member of the executive, with being a liar in the role that he performs. And this was symptomatic, I think, of yesterday's hearing. It was indicative that the Congress has had a gutsful, frankly, of being lied to, they say, by the Defense Department, and they want to get to the truth on UAPs. They believe there's a cover-up. They believe the US knows a lot more than it's letting on. And indeed, as I reported with News Nation back in 2023 with a guy called David Grush, who went public with me, the allegation is that the United States has knowledge of a UAP craft retrieval program, that is alien technology. And the allegation is that the United States has been reverse engineering or attempting to reverse engineer this technology in the black. Quite an extraordinary allegation, but one I can tell you Congress is now taking very seriously.
Yeah, Ross, I mean, we have Area 51 in Nevada that is federal territory, so that even people who live a few miles away are kept out of Area 51. If they get close to Area 51, federal vehicles, unmarked black cars, come up and escort you out. So that area has been highly protected for decades now. And the question is, what's going on in there? And you can't fly over it. Satellite images are blacked out. There are those occasional rare zoom pictures that show like nondescript planes landing, but apparently people check in 100, 200 miles away for work and get flown into the area on a daily basis. It'd be fascinating someday to find out more. And the question is, how high up does this alleged cover-up go? And does the president himself know? Because in many cases, you have, in our country at least, you have a bureaucracy that lives on administration after administration. It doesn't end with each presidency. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of this. We could talk for hours about this. For anyone who wants to know more about this, and I'm sure many of you, as I do, would love to, you could check out Ross's shows You have them on YouTube. They're fascinating. You go down a rabbit hole. You watch one, you have to watch another and another and another, and you do such a beautiful job. And your research and your video is amazing. So you can check it out. His name is Ross Coulthart. I had to practice because I wanted to say Cold Heart in American pronunciation, but it's Coulthart from Australia. But you are the special correspondent for News Nation on this issue. It is awesome to have you on, sir. And please don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you on again.
It's a pleasure, Ken. All the best to you and your audience.
Thank you, sir. And there's a reason why News Nation is one of the fastest growing cable networks. News Nation special correspondent Ross Coulthart, host of Reality Check with Ross Coulthart on News Nation's YouTube. It is now 7:45, 62 degrees. And when we come back, we'll tell you all about the 2025 Free Fall Concert Series at the PNC Bank Art Center. Showers this morning, clouds later, high 70. Meteorologist Mike Favetta comes back in 30 seconds. This is on ONNJ Mornings. We're coming right back. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 746. We're still taking calls at 888-658-0234. Shower 2 this morning, clouds later, highs to 70. Meteorologist Mike Favetta tells us, though, hang on if you like nice, warm, sunny weather.
Yeah.
Got something nice tomorrow.
It's true. And it was so dark this morning waking up. The sun rises later and later, so it looks a little darker, but those clouds just made it seem extra gloomy. And that'll be the case all through today. Limited sunshine, gray sky, mist and drizzle around. Even in northern New Jersey, you might just see the cloudy skies here. Probably not measurable rainfall up in Sussex and by West Milford. But beyond that, there'll likely be some showers entering Hudson County through this afternoon. It's not going to be a drought buster, so the moderate drought still remains for northern New Jersey, as the temperatures today will be cool enough, but not allowing for that rain to really fall, especially where the air is still quite dry up in northern New Jersey. That equates to about a 1 to 2 inch rainfall deficit for the last month. And while we don't have much significant rain in the forecast, that continues because even the tropical development is very quiet through this afternoon and the next few days. No development is expected. So back here in New Jersey, keeping an eye to the sky for the dry weather, and even the warmer conditions that'll set up in the Midwest will be just average warmth through the end of the month and even into the state, with the drier weather sticking around, average chances of rainfall. But September is typically a dry month anyway, so probably won't see much more in the way of rainfall going into the next 2 weeks. The temperatures warm into the 80s tomorrow, holding in the 70s. Noticeable humidity. You'll feel that even through Saturday and Sunday. Not muggy humid, but, comfortable even through Monday and Tuesday. Certainly not that dry, refreshing feel, but it'll still feel great for any outdoor plans this weekend. The wet weather wraps up by tonight and maybe some clouds tomorrow morning for the shore points, with tomorrow and Friday both warming into the upper 70s. So a nice warm feel for you into this weekend, and holding just around that pleasant 75, 76 degree number with clear sky right through next week. So a nice stretch of weather beyond the gray sky today, Ken.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. And we have some issues on the roadways to tell folks about. A lot of the roadways are damp from showers that were kind of scattered through the morning. So let's first take a look on I-78. These are both actually the first two a little further south. On I-78 eastbound by 287 in Bedminster, the left lane is closed. We'll take a look at the traffic buildup there. There you go. So on the right side, that's about half a mile before this crash. So this is I-78 going toward the crash, but the crash is eastbound, exit 29 in Bedminster, with the left lane of 2 lanes closed, and you can just see the buildup just beginning. Probably in 15 minutes when we get that shot, you'll see that it's backed up to that point. I'm going to ask Pam if she could take the 290. If you go to the 290, I'm sorry, go to the 195 tour, Pam. Go to the 195 tour at. You'll see I-295 at 195 under the 195 tour. I'm sorry to be technical, folks. Just give us 1 second. There you go. Now you see the bumper-to-bumper traffic on the right side. That right there, that's due to a crash on 295 northbound at exit 67 in Lawrence. The right shoulder's closed, and that is causing that backup. We have a disabled tractor-trailer now on the Turnpike Interroadway southbound ramp from the Stockton service area and Hamilton Township. All lanes and both shoulders are open. Vehicles are off to the right shoulder, but that's causing some rubbernecking. We have a vehicle fire now on the Garden State local lanes northbound north of 114, which is Red Hill Road and Homedale. The right lane is blocked, and a downed pole has been causing problems all morning. Both directions are closed, and that's on Fordville, Gouldtown Road in Fairfield. All lanes are closed due to a downed pole. Your approaches to the Hudson River have been a mess today. We now have 30 minutes at the Holland, 35 at the Lincoln, and we look at the GWB upper and lower levels, and it is slow. Right now, 35 minutes on the upper level and 40 on the lower. The lower is the left side of your screen. 7:50 is our time. We're joined this morning by Ron Gravino, Vice President of the Garden State Arts Foundation. And this fall, the foundation is once again making live music accessible to all with the 2025 Free Fall Concert Series kicking off Tuesday, September 9th. Wait a minute. Is that this past Tuesday? Yes, it was. Kicked off yesterday. Sorry about that. Got to pay attention to my dates. At 1:30 at the PNC Bank Arts Center in Homedale, the opening show featured Herman's Hermits, starring Peter Noon, joined by the legendary vocal group, The Association, two icons of the 60s pop music, rather. If you were alive then, I was a baby, but I was. Ron, welcome to the show. Good to have you on, sir.
Thank you very much, Ken, for having me on. It's an honor to follow that icon, David Wildstein. Unnerved me a little bit. And I was going to hang up earlier because in another life, I'm commissioner of the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. And you've been really reporting a few problems on our roads today, but I'm here. So thank you for having me.
Okay. Absolutely. I don't know how you must have had a bottle of Tums, industrial strength Tums, on your desk each day, handling the Turnpike Authority. I don't even know how you could have managed that. That must have been incredible.
Two very busy roads.
Yeah, absolutely. But amazingly built. And if you look at them, without digressing too much, they are beautiful. It's amazing how huge they are. And people should take the time and read about the fact why it's called the Turnpike and not I-95. And it was New Jersey's before it became the U.S. government's and all that, right? I love all that history about the New Jersey Turnpike. There's a reason why it has that name. But we will talk about that's another show for another day. Herman's Hermits and the Association, they opened up the 2025 Free Fall Concert Series. So how did that work out, and why that particular act to open things up?
Peter Noon is just an incredible performer. He's 77. He does over 100 shows a year. We had over 12,000 people yesterday, which was a record for us for a daytime show, free show. They loved it. Very happy the association opened for him. And people were very, very interested. They know his songs. So we're really glad to be able to get him out here.
I love that. I was a disc jockey for a bunch of years before I got into television, and yeah, so he's one of the mainstays. A buddy of mine runs a Kiwanis Club up in Putnam County, New York, and he has performed with my friend's Kiwanis Club a dozen times probably, and definitely a great act. He doesn't fail. Share how the Garden State Arts Foundation brings these performances to life, and why the mission of the Arts Foundation matters so much to people in New Jersey.
Sure. We're entering our 41st year. We're a 501c3, in other words, a charitable organization. We're a component piece of the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. So the board members are the commissioners of the Turnpike Authority, including the DOT commissioner, Fran O'Connor, who's our chair of the Turnpike. He takes a huge interest in the Arts Center and music, and our two strategic partners, PNC Bank and Live Nation, help a great deal in funding the shows that we put on. We try to do some oldies. We try to do some classical. We try to do some ethnic festivals. We had a show scheduled in the summer with Los Lobos, a Hispanic festival. Unfortunately, the weather decided to hit Homedale, New Jersey directly that day with like a mini tornado. We had to cancel that show. That's very rare in 40 years, but we're going to bring them back again. So we do try to give some diverse shows to the community.
As pretty as Homedale is, and it really is a pretty area, it seems if we ever want a video shot on our air of intense fog during the morning show, we show the camera that's in the parking lot at the PNC Bank Arts Center. And inevitably, even on a sunny day, there will be fog there. It's, I guess, because of where the ocean breezes meet, the winds off the land, wherever, you always get fog there. So that's sort of like, that's our inside thing. Pam, our director, knows we'll always go for fog at the PNC Bank Arts Center in Homedale. The fact that the folks at PNC Bank and Live Nation help sponsor this is an amazing thing in this economy, because it costs money to put this on. You have to hire not just the act, but you have to hire security and people to help with directing people to park the cars, et cetera. So that's a big deal. How did you manage to get these folks on board?
Well, they had an interest in giving something back to the community. I don't have to say that ticket prices for regular shows are expensive these days. So it was, both the bank, we work with them a great deal, and we work with Live Nation all the time. They're a great strategic partner, and we're thrilled to be part of this team. And I think the people really do enjoy it. I get pleasure. I give remarks at most shows and get to look out, and people are genuinely happy. I think that there's something that's still free out there.
And I was reading, you get 100,000 or more attendees every year. That is huge. Clearly, the series has a wide appeal. So what is new or different in the lineup this year that fans could look forward to?
Well, as I mentioned, yesterday's show was just fantastic. We were thrilled that we had 12,000 people in the afternoon. The weather always plays a part in a free show. If it's bad, people don't show up, but it was great yesterday. We have 3 more shows coming up, again, all free. Anyone can book the tickets by just going onto our website, and they get electronic ticketing right away, emailed to them. We have on Monday, September 29th, an afternoon of music and memories with the Happenings, Vito Pacone and the Elegants, and the Coda Band, who's really very well known in the local area. We have 2 evening shows. One on September 19th called Malt Shop Memories. Malt Shop Memories is also a sponsor of ours. They do oldies cruises where you go out on the boat with the acts. And it's really, I did it once. It was really, really quite good. And there's probably 10 acts on that show. That's 7:00 on Friday, September 19th. And then we've had a 12-year relationship with Cousin Brucey. Cousin Brucey is an icon from WABC radio back in the day. He brought the Beatles to America in '64, and he's still out there. He's on WABC again on the weekends, and he comes and MCs and brings in some really great acts. We have on Friday, October 3rd, 7:30, Cousin Brucey presents the Rascals' 60th anniversary tour, and Gary Lewis and the Playboys. The Rascals, again, have a lot of hits, Good Lovin' and other things that I think people would certainly know if they heard them. So we hope that people would come and see us. Go to our website, gsafoundation.org, and you can order tickets anytime.
Ron, Cousin Brucey, just to give you a little insight, a little fun fact, he taught me as an adjunct professor at NYU. 2 different classes I took, and he gave me a D in one of my classes because I was already working as a professional disc jockey in New York, and he thought that my work should have been higher than everybody else in the class. So to make an example, he gave me a D, the only D I ever got in my entire life for anything. It's and every time I see Bruce, I remind him. He goes, well, cousin, you should have gotten an A. You should have done better work, but cousin, you just mailed it in. So he's probably right. He's just a lovely, lovely, lovely man. And his wife, Jody, they're just sweet people, good people. So it's nice to see he's still really doing it.
I'm going to yell at him this morning after this call, and you should come on the 3rd, and I'll make nice. I'll make sure you get an A.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if it's funny. He's in his 80s now, and sometimes his memory fades a little bit. Every time I go up and see him, I have to remind him who I am. But that's okay. I love him to death, and he'll always be a favorite. He'll say, wait, Ken, that sounds familiar. Cousin. He is truly a living legend and the last of the lineup of the great golden WABC 77 music radio of the 60s and 70s that was just number one radio station in the history of radio. And he was the star at night. Just amazing. It is so nice to have you on. You helped bring back memories for all of us. Ron Gravino, please come back in. And sometimes I would love to do a show on the highway system, and I pick your brain about that. It's fascinating. Ron Gravino is the vice president of the Garden State Arts Foundation. I know you got your hands full with this. It's so nice what you're doing, and I'm sure people love and appreciate you. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Please come back. All right, Ron. What a good man. It is 61 degrees now, 8 o'clock. And when we come back, affordable housing in New Jersey, what does it look like in one of the wealthiest counties? We'll take your calls, too, at 888-658-0234. Stray shower this morning, clouds, later highs near 70. Full Garden State forecast in a minute. You're watching ONNJ Mornings seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus. Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, X, streamed live too on Substack, Rumble, and Twitch at twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. That's a mouthful. We're coming right back. It is 8:01. Good morning. Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. You could see a stray shower this morning and cloudy today. Highs around 69, 70 degrees. We had the meteorologist Mike Favetta with a promise for something real pretty tomorrow, right?
Yeah, very pretty, because you look outside today, it's very gray, very drab, and that's the color you'll see, Ken, all this afternoon, especially with the radar that shows those light showers moving across New Jersey right now, up there in the hills through 287, Route 78, and even across Route 24, down across the shore points. These light showers continue, live radar at 8 a.m., keeping the wet weather around through this afternoon. So spotty sprinkles into the end of the day, even some coastal flooding likely with some very gusty breezes as we just coming off of our full moon. So with the temperatures that hold right now in the 60s across most of the state, the exception being Sussex at 55 degrees, it's a very mild morning. And with that damp feel in the air and the gusty breezes, we're running about 11 degrees warmer than this time yesterday across the state. Much more humid down at the coast with that wind coming in off of the water, and with the temperatures holding in the 50s through this afternoon up in the northern sections of the state. Less of a chance to see that precipitating rain back across the hills of northern New Jersey. Most of the coastal plain here in the Garden State will see that wet weather today. And with that wind out of the north and east today, keeping the clouds around, it'll be very damp throughout this afternoon and even through tonight, with a clearing expected not till tomorrow late in the morning at the shore. You'll clear out for some sunshine early in the morning tomorrow morning, and then eventually bring back the clear weather. But it's going to be a little bit of a rough go with more reduced visibility down the shore for tomorrow morning. Take a look at the futurecast showing that light shower around throughout the rest of the morning into the afternoon, and even approaching sections of central New Jersey. We don't eventually clear out until later on tonight. So tomorrow morning, breaks in the clouds. It's still cloudy, still raining, in fact, this time tomorrow down the shore. And then the full clearing happens in the afternoon. Temperatures warm into the low 80s in northern New Jersey, mid 70s elsewhere, and it stays nice and dry. By Friday into Saturday, there's still a fair amount of clouds around, but enough sun to warm us back into the upper 70s. And then by Saturday afternoon, there's the potential for a quick passing sprinkle that comes on through. Not to worry. I think most of it dissipates, but plan on some clouds. And then a clearing occurs by Sunday morning that'll look very pleasant and bring back another round of clear sky to start the second half of our weekend. Plenty of sunshine on the way for tomorrow. Beautiful still on Friday, 77, and warm 78 degrees, Ken, on Saturday. We'll let you know how the 7-day forecast looks coming up when we give you another check of your forecast in a few minutes.
Thank you. You know what? Stay right there, Mike. Stay on the screen, and okay. I'm going to ask Pam to just hang on. I'm going to bring up Heidi right now. How about that? So let's see if I remember how to do this. We have a caller. See if we got Heidi. Are you there on the phone?
Oh, yes, I am. Hello, Mr. Ken. Well, Ken. How are you?
Well,
How are you?
Ken, Hello. So we have been promoting phone calls, and a lot of times people are intimidated to call. I saw you had called. Before we move forward, we have the handsome Mike Favetta on the screen with us too. So I wanted to say good morning. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Vernon, and I just want to call to congratulate on New Jersey because, boy, do we need some refreshing news for New Jersey. And I'm so happy I discovered your streaming channel. I'm just hoping and wishing and rooting you on to go further so people can discover as well as I did that news is so important right now, and we just need to have honest news, and it's a tough time for everybody. And I'm just so happy. I remember watching you on ABC, and when I saw you on a podcast, I was like, oh man, there he is. And there's something, and that's how I found you. And I'm just excited, and I'll be watching. I will be watching.
Well, you're very kind. So here, I'm going to give you a charge today. Your charge is to tell 100 of your closest friends about us to get us out, because we're like the little engine that could. We're getting there little by little, but it was so nice. You just made our day, Heidi. Thank you so much for being so kind and calling, and call back all the time, please.
I will, and I already have shared it on my Facebook pages. I've only discovered you yesterday, so I am going to do that.
You're very kind. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. And listen, you don't only have to call with nice stuff. If you disagree with stuff, we want you to put me in my place whenever you feel I should be put in my place. Sometimes I get a little sassy with my mouth, as Mike will tell you.
Oh, I will. I will. Thank you.
We love you, Heidi.
So
Thank you. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Look at that, Ken.
Wow.
Nice way to
All
start
right,
off a
Heidi.
Wednesday. Yeah.
There we go. Well, that made my day, and I wanted to make sure you were on that because Mike is 50% of that show. Actually, we're 33 1/3% each because Pam, who is not on camera, runs everything behind the scenes, and we couldn't do it without her. So Pam Salovey too. All right, thank you, sir. I wanted to keep you on for that. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, you bet.
You bet. All right, it's 8:06 right now, and in terms of traffic, let's just go straight to the GWB if we can, Pam. Right now, the upper and lower levels of the GWB you can see are still bumper to bumper. It's been an ugly mess all morning long. We've had traffic. In fact, there it is. You see, they're saying now about 30 minutes on the upper and 35 on the lower. The lower is on your left, the upper is on the right. Lincoln and Holland right now are about 25 minutes at the Holland. It's 30 minutes at the Lincoln. And the only other thing to report is a crash on 78 eastbound at 29, exit 29 in Bedminster. The left lane is closed, and that's causing a big delay. 8:07 is our time. And Bergen County is one of the wealthiest counties in New Jersey, but it's also at the center of a growing battle over affordable housing. And few organizations have a closer view of the impact than Family Promise of Bergen County. Joining us now to share their experience and what it reveals about the broader struggle for affordable housing in New Jersey are Paul Shackford, board president of Family Promise of Bergen County, and Kate Duggan, who is the organization's executive director. Good morning to the two of you. Thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having us.
Well, thank you. You know, when I see the word homelessness, I get a chill because it would have been terrible and horrible and difficult at any other time. But when you look at the cost of housing and the shortage of housing today, it literally sends a bit of nausea in the pit of my stomach because I can only imagine the families struggling right now, facing homelessness. What kind of need are you seeing right now? Who would like to take that first? Kate, would you like to start with that?
Sure. So, as you said, we're in one of the most expensive counties in the nation, actually. And the fair market rent for a really modest 2-bedroom apartment is over $2,000 a month. And knowing that, a person would have to make almost $40 an hour to be able to afford an apartment of that cost, which translates into making about $83,000 a year.
And I know, and Pam, you could go back and forth. I'm sorry, bring everybody on. It's always a challenge when we're in 3 different locations, but I want to make sure we get everybody on here. It is always a challenge when you want to build or create moderate or low income housing, because I know everybody in an area right away feels it's going to bring crime or it's going to lower the property values. Now, in some cases, you do have people struggling with addiction who end up homeless, but everybody who's homeless is not an addict. That's the thing. And I think people have to stop conflating. You have a lot of people who are homeless and a lot of people who are addicted, but working very hard to get out of it. That doesn't mean they deserve to live in the streets. And this is the issue. So I can only imagine how challenging that must be for you to take all of that into account and deal with all of the issues from many communities, especially in wealthier areas.
In fact, Ken, one of the reasons that we hardly ever use the H word, homeless, is exactly what you said, because people, they freeze up. They all go to the perceptions that they have. And we live close to New York City, and many people assume that that's the homeless population. In fact, we deal mostly with.
Ooh,
Did we lose Paul?
it looks like it.
Yeah.
So let me
All
tell
right,
you what
Pam.
he's
You
doing
want to
today.
pick up where he left off right there, Kate?
Sure. So I think what happens is people fall back on some stereotypes about who actually is experiencing homelessness right now. And in fact, just about any of us in a wealthy area like this, and frankly across the nation, could become homeless. When it costs so much for housing, it just takes one family breakup, a job loss, a sick kid. That would prevent someone from working and spiral into homelessness. I read an article recently that well over 50% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, meaning that once they pay the bills, there's nothing left. So you can understand why one small hiccup can send a family spiraling into losing their home.
Yeah, all you need at that point is a relative to pass away and you have to pay for a funeral or a car accident or anything like that, a fire, God forbid, and that's it. That's all it takes, and you're done. You folks had a vision of turning a vacant building in Emerson into transitional housing and offices. What made that location such a good fit for the program?
Well, it was in a perfect location. It was close to public transportation, shopping, houses of worship, parks, medical care, and so on. It was really a perfect place for us. But it turns out that we think many of the people just don't understand the issue of homelessness, and those are the perceptions that we talked about. So we continue our search. We continue our search to find a place where we can build a family promise center and help more people.
Now, in fairness to some of the communities, there are people in some cases, not all by any stretch, but there are some people who are homeless because of mental health issues or because of addiction. But there are programs to help them as well, right? So that what would you tell people who have the NIMBY mentality so that they understand that these folks are trying? Usually, I mean, my experience as a reporter when I was with ABC, what I would encounter is the people who want housing are not the people necessarily with the mental health issues, because the people with the mental health issues are genuinely, they don't want to be touched. Many of them just want to be on the streets. The people who want housing are just the opposite. They're the people trying to get back on their feet, right?
Absolutely.
That's for sure. As you said, there's programs for people with mental illness, also those struggling with addiction. But Family Promise of Bergen County deals with working families. These families are trying their darndest to make ends meet, and they're just unable to do it. So an important component of our program is to really identify those issues that contributed to a family becoming homeless. Do they need a higher income? So they need some job training. Do they need reliable transportation? We have a robust car donation program. Do they need help managing their money? We have a financial education program that helps families save money, manage their money, and really become financially independent.
Wow. And how could people get involved, whether through advocacy, volunteering, maybe just making a donation, or helping spread the word? What can people do? Do you have a website? How can people reach out and help?
Well, we do have a website, bergenfamilypromise.org, so people can volunteer. They can call and get in touch with us that way. I think it's important to understand also, Ken, that we see and interact with homeless people every day, or people that are really struggling. And these are not just the people that you might see on the street, which we often don't here, but they're cashiers, they're bank tellers, they're teachers. There are many, many people that are struggling. So what we do is we try to meet them where they are. I think one of the most important things that we want people to understand is that there is an issue here in Bergen County. It may be more hidden than in the city, but we do have that issue and we have to face it.
Absolutely. And 9 words, there but for the grace of God go I. And I think that's an important thing to remember. Anything can happen. Look, I had my career yanked out from under my feet a few years ago. And, the reality sinks in that, like, oh, we have bills to pay. What are we going to do? So it can happen to anyone at any time. And God bless you for being there to help people who find themselves in challenging points in their lives. And I think everybody has to just take a deep breath and be patient and really open their hearts and minds and be a little calmer in a circumstance like this. Paul Shackford, board president, and Kate Duggan, executive director, both of Family Promise of Bergen County. We appreciate what you do. Thank you. Come back again, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You bet. It is 8:16 right now and 61 degrees. Showers this morning, clouds later, highs around 70. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full Garden State forecast. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. We'll be right back. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It's 8:17 on your Wednesday, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Well, shower here or there this morning, clouds later. We need the rain, though, or a little drought. Highs about 70. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. And Mike, after the gray skies today, they're going to clear up and we put on a happy face tomorrow, right, with sunshine.
Totally. Yeah, lots of smiles across New Jersey with the sunshine that'll be back, the warmer weather, because even though it's milder right now than mornings past, we're running about 10, 11 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. Look at the rain that's appearing here on the radar picture. The clouds, the heaviest ones are offshore, but there'll still be some clouds around for most of New Jersey today, with highs climbing quickly into the mid and upper 60s. That's not exactly warm considering how the clouds are around today through New Brunswick and Princeton, Roosevelt. You'll likely see that wet weather linger and some mist and drizzle through this afternoon. Visibility dropping right now through Long Branch, even Toms River, less than 3 miles for you. Medford, under 10-mile visibility. And the rain today, while it slowly moves in, it doesn't amount to very much in the bucket. It'll be just a light drizzle throughout most of the state. Even portions of northern New Jersey, north of Morristown into Sussex and Warren County, probably don't see much of any rain today. The bulk of it falls down across the coastal areas. And with that, not all that much, again, less than half an inch. So the system today comes in from the east, giving us our wet weather through this afternoon. It's clear off to our west. That's our fair weather that takes over beginning tomorrow. And it also returns to sunnier conditions with noticeable humidity. Typically, when the front passes through, the humidity drops like a rock, bringing that refreshing feel that you'd expect for late September. Not the case. It'll actually feel a little more humid than usual going into tomorrow and Friday, even for Saturday, keeping temperatures a bit on the warmer side down the shore, with the humidity noticeable even in northern New Jersey by the end of the day Friday. For Saturday, we're clear. Sunday evening might have a little energy off to our north that gives northern New Jersey a quick sprinkle. But beyond that, I think it's dry for Monday and Tuesday. Clear sky takes over for much of next week, and we're beautiful going into Wednesday. So that clear feeling with the nice dry weather takes over by the middle of next week and really lasts through a good portion of the next week in September. As far as this weekend is concerned, plenty of sunshine on Saturday. Temperatures warming to 80 by Sunday. That'll feel very pleasant, a nice milder finish, and pretty dry all around. So great weather for the outdoor plans. I see a lot of mums and pots popping up on the stoops and steps of everyone's front porches. So yeah, the fall feel will be in the air. Before that, you got the scarecrows, you've got the bales of hay. Have you noted these services? Now landscapers will come and kind of jazz up your front entryway and your front porch for fall. It's like it's becoming so popular now.
That's for fancy people. You got to be fancy.
People, yeah.
I love that. And anyway, I love the fact that landscapers have reinvented their field, if you will, if I could use that term, over the last few decades, from just mowing the lawns to doing artistic work. And then in the wintertime, they do they decorate your house for holidays, and they do the snow plowing. It's like they're now busy year round. It used to just be summertime that they were busy. They're now busy year round. Very smart. I know a couple of them who are multimillionaires, and they worked very hard for it, but very smart. All right, sir. Thank you very much. We'll check back with you. It's 8:21. See, Mike is one of those fancy people. Michael have that fancy stuff done. We just got to get a picture of it. I'm going to just say a number for Pam. It's a New Jersey Turnpike tour, Pam, MM 034.3 south of Interchange 4 Plaza. And you'll all see why I'm doing that. We have to. There you go. You see that traffic right there? So this is due to a disabled tractor trailer on the Turnpike Inner Roadway southbound ramp. That is the southbound ramp right there. From Richard Stockton service area in Hamilton, all lanes are open, but because of a vehicle on the right shoulder just beyond that point where those folks are getting on, that's causing some delays right now. So just wanted to share a little traffic with you. We have a crash on I-78 eastbound at exit 29, and that is in Bedminster Township by 206. The left lane is closed, and a down pole on Route 49. Both directions are blocked now at Fordville Ghoultown Road in Fairfield. All lanes closed both directions. It's been that way for a few hours. An absolute nightmare in that part of Fairfield. Right now, the approaches to the Hudson River, we have 35 minutes at the Lincoln, 30 minutes at the Holland to cross into Manhattan. And at the GWB, upper and lower levels, moving a little better than it was. It's moving at least about 5 to 10 miles an hour, but you still have quite a delay. Upper level, we're told, is 35 minutes. 40 minutes on the left side is the lower level to get into Manhattan. 8:22 is our time, and Gail Petrillo is a burn survivor, a speaker, and the author of Becoming Visible, a powerful memoir about resilience, identity, and the quiet courage that it takes to be seen. Well, her journey from trauma is beyond, I should say, inspiring, and she's joining us today. Good morning to you, Gail. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning, Ken. Thanks so much for having me as your guest. I appreciate it.
Well, it's our pleasure. And tell us when you decided to write the book.
So my first book was written for children back in 2019, and I started speaking. And when I spoke to my audiences of every size, from 1 to 500, I was continually being told that sharing my story would resonate with more and more people. So because I hid for years behind my clothes, my career, my scars, both visible and invisible, and got braces at 50, I decided that it was now time this year to come out with my full story. No more secrets. It's all out there in its full.
It must have been so freeing for you to just tell everybody. It's like embracing any challenge we have as opposed to hiding from it. Was that sort of what did it feel invigorating and freeing for you?
It did. It was so cathartic to write it. But once it was out, you know how we feel when we let go of a secret? Our shoulders relax. We take that weight off of our shoulders. That burden is gone. That's exactly how I felt. Freeing for sure.
You're talking to a gay man, so I've had that experience. And it is unbelievable. It's before and after the fear, in my perspective, and I don't mean to take away from your story here at all, but the fear always is what if somebody figures it out or finds out? And now once you embrace it and you take control, it doesn't matter. It can't be used as a weapon against you because now you've taken control, and it's just an amazingly freeing feeling. The story of first of all, tell everybody, if you don't mind, tell everybody what happened to you and how the burn occurred.
Sure. So I was 2.5. My mom says I was a friendly, outgoing, girly girl who loved frilly everything. And one afternoon, she was taking me to a neighbor's house for a tea party, which back then it was more coffee than tea. And so we went inside, and you could smell the cookies coming out of the oven. They had just put a full 40-cup percolated, full fresh coffee on the table. I climbed up on the bench. I reached for the cookie, and I toppled the coffee pot off the table and all over me. So my body was burned 40%. I was in the hospital for a number of months. My parents didn't know whether I would live or die. And I never told anyone until I was about 68 years old.
Whoa. You are very lucky to be alive. 40% of your body, because usually at that point, you end up getting infection, right? And you don't survive because of the infection. I can't even imagine the pain that you must have gone through at that age. Do you remember the pain?
Fortunately not. Our bodies are miraculous things that protect us from remembering those kinds of fallouts from trauma.
So I would imagine by telling the story, you want people to take away what? You want people to learn that like a phoenix rising, right? That there is a tomorrow and you get through this. Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, I think one of the things I want people to take away is that we are never alone, right? We all struggle with some sort of trauma, with hidden secrets, with stories that we don't share. And when we recognize that we're not alone, it does help us. It enables us to share that story deeper and fuller with others. And I think it's also makes us aware of how resilient we are and how overcoming each little challenge benefits us so that we can go back to those challenges and remember how we overcame them and continue to do so.
And for parents watching, what is a simple thing they can do this week to help boost their child's self-esteem?
Well, I think children build self-esteem the same way we do. Parents can easily boost their child's self-esteem by encouraging them to share their day's experience. When you put your phone down and just give your child 5 minutes of your undivided attention, your child will react to that. When you have eye contact and say something like, "Tell me your story," you can change everything for them. When you ask open-ended questions and not gear them just towards yes or no, it encourages them to tell you their full story. And the more you do it, the more freeing it is for them, and the more comfortable I think they will be to share their story with you.
I agree wholeheartedly. I had a mom who was in the education system, and when I was a kid, I remember at 2, she would read to me every day, and when she did, she would shut the door or turn off the phone because she wanted that to be uninterrupted time. And she used to always ask me to tell me what happened with Grandma today. Did Grandma teach you anything? And it was undivided attention. I'll never forget that. Literally 2.5 years old, and it's still in my mind. I'm a lot older than that now. What is a website, Gail, for people to find that book? And you've multiple books, right? And to learn more about you and your story.
Yes, thank you. So my first book was translated into Spanish. It's called The Accident and El Accidente. The best way to find all 3 of my books is on the publisher's website. It's www.booklocker.com/13819.
Okay, 13819. And I'm sure if they Google your name too, Gail Petrillo, Petrillo, they will find all the information about you because you can't hide from Google. The Google tells us everything. Unfortunately, good, bad, true, and not true. There is a lot of Google out there about me that has no bearing in reality, but nonetheless, it is there. It is nice to have you on, Gail Petrillo. The book that we were talking about today is Becoming Visible. Author and burn survivor, Gail Petrillo. Thank you for joining us this morning. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Ken. Have a great day.
You as well. Thank you. 8:29 right now. When we come back, his work helped lead to massive product recalls and industry reforms in boat production. We'll speak with product safety attorney Don Fountain. Our phone lines are open. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Very good morning to you. Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, 66 degrees now at 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Morning. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning to you, Ken. A very gray sky, a gloomy start to the day, but I think we'll see the sun back tomorrow later in the morning across northern New Jersey and by the afternoon in southern New Jersey. Again, that's Thursday. So we get about 24 hours of this gray sky with some light drizzle as well, some spotty showers moving in. It's all due to a system offshore that's just throwing back the rain our way today. So not a whole lot of sunshine this afternoon from Egg Harbor City up through Manahawkin and down to Cape May. Temperatures hold in the upper 60s or low 70s, which is about 5 to 10 degrees cooler than where we should be. Normally we average about 80 this time of year, but with the sun rising later and later, the sun setting earlier and earlier, yeah, it's looking a bit gray today with the limited amount of daylight that we'll get. The futurecast showing those showers lasting through this afternoon. You see them here, temperatures hold in the 60s today. It's a cooler feel, but tomorrow with the clearing, we move back into the upper 70s and low 80s. So a very pleasant feel, lots of warm weather throughout the day on Friday and the clearing as well. Here's the system that's giving us all of our clouds and showers. As it moves to the east by tomorrow and the front approaches from the west, it'll clear out our skies, gradually bring back the sunshine, and we finish the day nice and dry, but noticeably more humid. With that breeze coming in from the south and west, it'll feel unusually humid by September standards. Certainly not muggy, but you'll notice it going into the day on Sunday, and then by Sunday evening, could have a few passing sprinkles that move on by. The next few days showing our temperatures climbing quickly into the low 80s for Thursday, warming as well for Friday and Saturday in the mid 70s, and then by Sunday and Monday back into the upper 70s into next week. So it'll feel very pleasant with the warmer weather after we get through the rain today. Back to sunshine tomorrow afternoon down the shore and holding in the 70s as well this weekend. So no real big rain threats, but that does cause a concern for the ongoing drought that continues in northern New Jersey. Typically fall is a pretty dry time of year unless we get like a big nor'easter or a big tropical system. And so far, that's not in the cards yet, at least in the next few days. So we'll give you more of those details coming up with another check of your forecast and monitor the drought situation, Ken. That's in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, Mike. And we do have a lot of traffic on the roadways to talk about, a lot of it because the roadways have been dampened this morning from some scattered showers. So looking around, let's take a look at I-80 right now. This is in the area of in Wharton, and that's, in fact, that is exactly the area where the sinkhole was, that big sinkhole that took months to repair. This is not due to a sinkhole. Thank you, God. This is just due to volume, it appears. There's no report of any accident, but that's quite a bit of volume. That's at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. But that, again, is I-80, and you can just see the massive amounts of traffic there right now. We do have a crash on the Garden State Parkway with property damage. Unfortunately, I've been looking here to see if we do have a near camera, and I think the nearest camera is a little too far to capture that. I've been looking on our list of cameras. But this is property damage, Garden State Parkway, northbound by exit 63A, which is Route 72 in Stratford Township. All lanes are open, but there's a lot of slowdown as you go through that area, we have reported. We also have a crash on 78 eastbound at exit 29, Route 206 in Bedminster with the left lane closed, and a disabled tractor trailer on the turnpike in a roadway southbound ramp from the Richard Stockton service area in Hamilton. All lanes and both shoulders are open, but the vehicle's off on the right shoulder and causing some rubbernecking. We also have a down pole closing Fordville Gouldtown Road in both directions in Fairfield, and that's causing a mess right now. We take a look at the Hudson River crossings. Lincoln Tunnel is 25 minutes. Holland is only 20. Upper and lower levels of the GWB, now we have a mess. You can see the lower level on the left, upper on the right, and we're told 40 to 45 minutes in either way. 8:35 is our time. We're joined today by Don Fountain, a nationally recognized product safety attorney and the author of Defect Safety. Don has spent nearly 4 decades holding major corporations accountable and reshaping consumer safety standards throughout with his use of his knowledge in the courtroom, doing it the legal way. His work has helped lead to massive product recalls and industry reforms, most notably the $200 million verdict against Malibu Boats, a case that exposed design flaws impacting 25 years of boat production. Today, he joins us to talk about product safety, corporate accountability, and how legal action can actually lead to life-saving changes for consumers. Good morning. Thanks for coming on today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
You bet. Well, how does this most recent Supreme Court decision, what does this mean in plain terms for American consumers?
Well, in plain terms, what it means is that the independent agencies that account for all of our safety have now been converted into dependent agencies. And that is a scary, scary trend, which makes the civil litigation system even more important to enforce product safety. I'm concerned that when the Solicitor General took office in February of this year, she immediately wrote a letter to Congress and said, we realize these independent agency commissioners can only be fired for cause, but we don't think that's right, and we don't intend to abide by that. And what we've seen over the past months is an erosion of the independence of numerous commissions, including the Consumer Product Safety Commission.
So describe to people who don't understand what the Consumer Product Safety Commission is and why it is so important.
So in Congress in 1970 established the Consumer Product Safety Commission as a bipartisan independent commission to look out for all of our safety. Each president has the ability to appoint commissioners. They have overlapping terms, so you get Republican appointed commissioners, Democratic appointed commissioners, because safety should not be a political issue. And that's been the law of the land for 50 years. This year, there were 3 firings of the Democratic appointees on the Consumer Product Safety Commission. They were appointed by Biden, and they were fired for no reason. And the administration said that we can do that. And so far, the Supreme Court has gone along with it.
Share an example of where trial lawyers uncovered a danger that regulators missed.
There are so many. When you look at the recalls that we get every day in the mail and see on TV, there are hundreds, maybe thousands, but there are literally tens of thousands of other defects that are exposed by lawyers across the country. The Malibu case that you mentioned was one of them. 25 years of boat production, 10 different models were recalled after a jury verdict. So the industry pays attention to jury verdicts. People that sit in a courtroom and listen to evidence and decide that a product is defective is very, very important. It's important to our overall safety. That's one example. Takata airbags is another. Firestone tires. The list goes on and on of defects that were exposed through the civil litigation process that were not exposed by the traditional governmental oversight.
Yeah, for those who don't remember Takata airbags, I mean, you had examples where some just blew open unprovoked. And, people who don't realize an airbag like that, if you have a small child in the seat and an airbag goes off, you could kill a child. I mean, if the child isn't strapped in or whatnot, that airbag comes out like it's like getting hit in the chest with a baseball bat. What do you want people to take away from the story?
Here's what I want the public to know. You are the genesis of product safety. Every recall starts with you. You in New Jersey, you in California, Bob in Iowa. If you see something that you think is a product defect, you need to report it. The government has a special website for that. It's called saferproducts.gov, not .com, saferproducts.gov. If it's a motor vehicle, it's safercar.gov. This is where safety starts. And if you see something, say something. The recalls that we all see all start with that process, where a consumer picks up the phone or logs in and makes a complaint. That is what is most important. And it's also important that we maintain the integrity of the civil justice system, because we take it to the next step. When someone unfortunately is injured or killed, a case is brought, and then that case develops the basis for the ultimate recalls that we all see. The Takata airbags, the Firestone tires, all started with somebody who unfortunately had a very, very bad day and then brought a claim. That was the genesis. So it's very important that the public is engaged at all times.
There are genuine cases, of course, to be brought, and I think a lot of people think it's my case isn't that case. But should they reach out to whom first? I mean, reach out to the government first, call a lawyer first. What's best so that they can determine whether or not they have something that legitimately needs to be brought to the rest of the public to keep everyone else safe?
Well, if you see a defect in a product, but you weren't injured, you're okay. You were able to avoid being hurt. Report it to two different places. Saferproducts.gov. If you happen to buy it on Amazon, report it to Amazon. They have a system in place now as of this year to report product defects, and report it to the manufacturer. Because you doing that can save someone else from having the same problem where they unfortunately are injured. If there is an injury or a death, then you should do those same things and also consult with a lawyer to assist you.
And in all fairness, not every manufacturer has an intentional feel like they don't all intentionally know something and want to hurt somebody. So really it comes down to sometimes notifying them. They can fix the problem and take care of things. So that's why it is so important, right? It's not that they all have a deep secret and they're kind of trying to rip people off. Sometimes they need to know too that they didn't realize that there might have been a defect, right? And so by speaking, coming forward and speaking, you might be notifying them of something that they didn't even realize in their testing.
You're exactly right. We all know and we expect that before a manufacturer sends a product out into the marketplace that they've tested it to make sure it's safe. We know in practicality that doesn't always happen because of the number of recalls that we see. So right. I'm not suggesting that manufacturers are all evil and want to sell us defective products. So letting them know about a product that's been in use that has a problem can prompt them to make a change. No manufacturer wants to see themselves on your show saying there's been a recall. That's bad for business. Right. So report it to them.
And Don, one of the things that I've caught in all the years that I was an anchor in New York City, I worked for Channel 7 for a bunch of years. We would have the same story over and over and over again. Massive house fire started by a lithium battery on an e-bike. And 99 out of 100 times, what it was people did not want to spend the money to buy the proper lithium battery that went with the bike. So they bought a knockoff battery on Amazon or some other third-party source, Temu or whatever. And that was the battery they left on a charger, and lo and behold, it caught fire. So have you seen an uptick, and I would imagine yes, so, an uptick in complaints because people are buying products that don't necessarily meet the American standards because they're buying them from all over the world?
Yes, we see a lot of battery cases. As we know, everything now is battery operated. Bikes, phones, power tools, yard equipment, everything. We see a lot of lithium battery cases. We all know when we get on the airplane, we're asked, do you have any lithium batteries on board? And a lot of the batteries are coming out of China. We know that there's a tariff issue going on right now. And what we don't know yet, we haven't really seen, in order to make up for the cost of the tariffs, are any manufacturers trimming back their safety standards? Are they cutting a few corners to make the bottom line fit? But I expect we're going to continue to see a lot of lithium battery related cases.
Yeah, just my own personal thing is if I see anything involving a lithium battery, I buy from the American manufacturer, the American company. Do not buy a knockoff from another country. Period. There's a reason why we have our own standards, primarily because of people like you making sure that companies know they have a certain level of standard they have to maintain and meet by law in this country. So we appreciate the fact that that is the case because of folks like you bringing the cases before the courts. Don Fountain, nationally recognized product safety attorney, author of Defect Safety. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir.
Thank you for your time. Be safe.
You bet. You as well. It is 8:44 right now, 63 degrees. When we come back, why do people seek out luxuries even during times of financial stress? We'll tell you about that. Showers this morning, clouds later, highs around 70. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a full Garden State forecast. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Give us a call, 888-658-0234. We're coming right back. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 845, taking calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Showers this morning, clouds later, highs around 70. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a Garden State forecast that does improve.
That's
It
right.
sounded like I said does improve for tomorrow. Good morning, Mike.
It does. Good morning to you, Ken. Yeah, it does. It feels very pleasant by tomorrow afternoon. Just have to make it through the gray sky today, the little bit of wet weather that's around in northern New Jersey from Wayne and Hackensack. As temperatures hold in the 60s this morning, will climb only to 67, so it'll feel much cooler than usual, especially since it's been warm the last few days. Well, it warms up again tomorrow. That persists with our drought for northern New Jersey. Won't see much improvement there with much of a rainfall deficit over the last few days, 1 to 2 inches, at least in northern New Jersey. All the areas shaded in red. Need a big soaking rain to put a dent in the drought. Not going to happen because even the tropics are quite dry. The temperature outlook has slightly warmer than average conditions across most of the eastern half of the U.S., including just that little western section of New Jersey. And then our average rain chances will take us through the end of the month. But with the rain chances today being low in terms of, significant rain, just a little bit of a spotty, misty drizzle doesn't do much to put us back in terms of, average rainfall. Look at the warmth that takes over through tomorrow and Friday, even for Saturday and Sunday. Lots of pleasant weather that'll bring our highs back into the upper 70s. As far as the shore points, yes, it takes a while for your clouds to clear tomorrow morning, but we're back to the mid 70s by tomorrow afternoon. It's Sunday into Monday. We'll see that warm up again and keeping it quite crisp and refreshing by next week. So a little bit more humidity coming in by tomorrow afternoon, making it feel kind of like summer doesn't want to go just yet, but we're just about 10 days away, Ken, from summer officially ending. So it'll start to feel like fall before you know it.
Yeah, I'm on the phone with Summer right now, and Summer wants to have a word with. I'll call you back, Summer. Yeah, I'll call you back. Yeah, it wants to stay, and it wants to know why you're so into it going and letting fall in. Fall and summer haven't gotten along for a lot of years. I'm just saying.
No,
putting it
they've
out
clashed.
there.
Oh, they've clashed. Like very Teresa Giudice, New Jersey, flip the table.
Pam, our director, says, come on, Paul. Come on, Paul. Come on, Paul.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. Have a great day, pal. We'll see you in the morning.
See you tomorrow.
All right, you bet. Mike has a nice forecast tomorrow. It's just going to be like a San Diego forecast. Sunny, 81, no rain. That's going to be his forecast tomorrow. It is 8:48 right now. Just a quick check of traffic. We have a crash still on I-78, exit 29 at 206 in Bedminster Township. All lanes are currently closed. That's a mess. We also have a crash on Route 29 northbound south of 129 in Hamilton Township. The right shoulder is closed there. Garden State Parkway crash with property damage, and it is north northbound exiting exit 63A, which is Route 72 East in Stratford. All lanes are currently open, but that is causing a big mess of rubbernecking. Disabled tractor trailer on the turnpike, inner roadway southbound ramp from the Richard Stockton service area in Hamilton. All lanes open. Shoulders are open as well now, but there's a vehicle that is just beyond the right shoulder, we're told. That's causing some delays. And we do have a mess here with a down pole. Route 49 closed in both directions east of Route 675 in Fairfield Township. All lanes are currently closed in that part of Fairfield. The approaches to the Hudson River right now, 35 minutes at the Lincoln, 25 at the Holland. We take a look at the upper and lower levels of the GWB. A mess. On the right side. That's your lower level approach. The left lower part of your screen by my name, Ken Rosato there. That is the upper level approach. Everything there is about 40 to 45 minutes in. So pack your patience, as they say. 8:49 is our time, and joining us now is Shannon Skopak, who is the Associate Vice President of Product Marketing at Affinity Federal Credit Union, to talk about a fascinating phenomenon. Why is it that during times of economic stress, people still reach for small luxuries? And how can that be both empowering and, if we're not careful, financially risky? So let's start with that. First of all, good morning and welcome. Thanks for coming on with us this morning.
Sure. Thank you, Ken. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start with the big picture then. Why do people tend to turn to little luxury items like Labubus that are out there right now during times of economic uncertainty?
So for anyone who may not know what a Labubu is, it's a small little monster doll. They're very cute. They retail for about $40, and people most often like to purchase them to clip onto their bag. And it's just a fun purchase. And that's usually what these types of smaller luxury purchases do, is they give us a little bit of a mood boost. They make us feel good. So even in times of economic downturns and rising costs, people still want to, feel good about buying something. So they may not be able to purchase the high-end luxury item, but maybe something that's a little bit more expensive, like a Labubu. It's not inexpensive, but it's affordable for people, and they may purchase that. So instead of buying maybe a designer handbag for hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars, buying a $40 Labubu and clipping it onto the bag you already have still makes you feel good. And so people still have a desire, consumers still have a desire and a want to purchase things, even when money's a little tighter and things are more expensive. Sometimes we refer to this as the lipstick effect. Estee Lauder discovered this at a time when costs were rising and the sales of luxury goods were going down. But what they found is that their lipstick sales were going up, actually, contrary to what you might think. And the reason is, like I said, is that people still want to make that little purchase, something that's affordable, but yet a luxury. And yes, there's a Labubu for you.
There you go. Wanted to show everybody because we mentioned it a bunch of times. So that's
yes.
Labubu. They're weird looking, but then again, years ago we had the Cabbage Patch dolls and everything else. So we've had weird stuff being sold over the years. It's not like we haven't in the past. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Right? Yeah. No. That's exactly. People ask, "What are these?" And that's exactly what they are. They are trending on social media, so people see them all the time. And trends and fads on social media come and go very quickly. So you kind of feel compelled when you keep seeing it on social media to make these purchases. And then as soon as one comes up and you maybe fall into it and want to buy it quickly and you get that quick little mood boost, all of a sudden something else comes along. So it's a little bit of a trap you need to watch that you can fall into. So people in general should, you don't want to make a habit of these purchases. Treating yourself once in a while is definitely okay. You just want to know where your money's going. You want to set a budget. You want to be able to, make sure you're paying for your necessities first, your food, your gas, your housing, making sure you're paying your bills in a timely manner. And also have an emergency fund and, savings set aside there. Then see what's left and maybe keep a controlled, amount of money that you think is okay to spend and splurge on a Labubu, a lipstick, maybe a fancy coffee, something that makes you feel good. So,
And for what it's worth, I mean, some of these Labubus, I know we keep talking, we keep focusing on it. It sounds like a big commercial, an infomercial for Labubus.
Yes, now everybody's
But
gonna want to buy one.
right, exactly. Some of them, though, people do collect, and they have gone up in value. So I've read of some people who are like going online and selling them for a small fortune. I don't want to even quote a number because I don't want to make people now rush out and get them. But they have been
Right.
collecting. The ones that are harder to get, I guess, go up in value. Right? It's supply and
Yes,
demand.
definitely. So they're hard to get right now because they are trending and so many people do want to purchase them. I think you can even buy outfits for them, so dress them up. So you spend even more money. But they also come in blind boxes. So there's a variety of them. You showed one, but they come in all different colors and things like that. So
Right.
you buy the box and you don't really know what's inside. So
And by the
you
way,
kind
for all the guys out there, I'm sorry to step on you, for all the guys who say, why do
No.
women buy that crap? The guys are out there buying stupid things like baseballs and baseball bats and hats and stuff like that. So guys, don't think you don't do the same thing. Guys do this, buy the same
Right. I
crap.
was
I don't
thinking
know
about
about
this earlier, actually.
my
People might
brother-in-law, who is, God
associate all
bless him.
these things with women, but
Right. No, guys are just, listen, my brother-in-law has an entire room in his home in Boca set aside for San Francisco 49ers stuff. He has literally, it's a whole room. So don't tell me guys,
wow.
guys get very obsessed too, but he can afford it. God bless him. He's a
Yes.
lawyer, but that's what guys do. That's their labubu is sports
Yeah,
stuff oftentimes, not the
exactly.
thing. But social media, you hit this. Social media plays such a huge role in encouraging spending today. So it's not necessarily an ad, but it's seeing a product here, there. All of a sudden, you have to be part of that. So talk about,
Yes.
give some advice for somebody who feels that there is pressure when they see this as a trend, when they see it in all these different social media posts, almost like a meme constantly in their faces.
Yes, no, for sure. I think, like I said, you feel compelled to get on board with these trends and you want to be part of it. It's a sense of belonging. You feel like you're up on the trends and people know that you know what's going on. A lot of these people are influencers, though. They're getting paid to promote products. Most of it is really marketing and people. You have to be aware that people are trying to get you to make purchases and create these phenomenons and fads. And that's why social media has gone very much towards promoting advertising and product pushing. So you need to be smart about it and really take that into consideration. That's why budgeting and saving is important and making sure you know where your money's going so that you're just not habitually getting on board and buying these purchases and, being part of every trend that comes along. You want to consider, is this important to me? Am I going to have a little buyer's remorse a month from now because I jumped in and bought this Labubu? Or did I really want it and it was worth it? So
I hope we get it. I hope we get a residual check from Labubu because the amount of times we've given him credit today so far, this is more than they could have bought. We have about a minute left. So at Affinity, you offer a savings account that helps people grow their money from smaller deposits. Tell us more about how that works and how it's different from a traditional savings account.
Sure. So, like I said, people have an emotional connection with their money. And when your finances are good, you're going to feel good. And when your finances aren't good, you're going to feel stressed. And those little purchases are going to that boosted your mood are now going to stress you out probably. So one way to maybe cure that is if you wanted to take the money you were putting into, you may have spent on a Labubu or these small purchases and put it into a savings account, you might feel really good about how you're watching your money grow and seeing how you're saving things. And we at Affinity do have a particular savings account. It's unique in the market because we pay a higher rate on smaller amounts of money. Usually it's the reverse. The more money you have, the higher rate you get. So this is a really nice savings account for people who want to get started saving and maybe get their mood boost from doing that instead of making purchases. And you'll be able to see that growth and compounding. And probably as you see your money grow in a savings account like that, you'll maybe not want to spend it as much. And it'll make you feel good to have it there and keep saving towards it.
It is healthier for you to save your money than to keep buying. You want to buy one Labubu, fine. Just leave it at that. We're out of time, unfortunately,
Exactly.
though.
Yes. You don't want to get a habitual.
Right. Shannon Skopak, who's Associate Vice President of Product Marketing at Affinity Federal Credit Union. Thank you for joining us this morning. Come back again.
Thank
with
you
your
so much
boo-boo.
for having me.
Thank you. All right, that's it. We're out of time for this morning. It is now 66 degrees at 8:59, and we'll catch you again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. sharp. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. Have a great day.